What an honor it is to be here. I feel like one man surrounded by all these women can be a little intimidating, but I am so grateful to be here. And from the minute I stepped into the house, I could sense the Spirit of God and the presence of God here, and that put me at ease. But nevertheless, it's a little bit intimidating. Thank you so much for your excitement, Becca. Really, I feel so honored to be invited to share a small part of my story with all of you. My name is Samuel Bistrian, and I grew up in Romania. I'm the 9th of 12 children. So my mom and dad, my dad didn't have any siblings, and he was an orphan. And that's where my story really begins. He became saved when he was 30 years old, and he said, I want to have a big family. And so he ended up having one, then two, and then I was the 9th. My mom had a dream with all of our names, hence we all have biblical names. So I'm Samuel, and Samuel happens to be the 9th book of the Bible. My life verse, which I'm going to read to you guys real quick, is out of Psalm 82, verse 3, and I happen to have been born in 1982 on April 3rd, and I really believe every detail of our life is engineered by God. And I'm just going to read that to you guys before I start into the rest of my story. But it says, give justice to the weak and the fatherless, maintain the right of the afflicted and the destitute, rescue the weak and the needy, deliver them from the hand of the wicked. When I was 6 years old, living in this small village of about 100 people in Romania with all my siblings, I had no idea that we were the poorest family. I found that out later on. We were just poor, and I do remember going outside without proper footwear. I remember going outside, and our feet just getting frozen and whatnot. We didn't have running water, and electricity would often get shut off because it was a communist country. When I was 8 years old, I received a pair of rain boots, and they transformed my life. They were handed down from older siblings. And we also had the opportunity to move to the U.S., which was a miracle in itself because so many people tried to get to the U.S., but they couldn't. Although communism had just fallen, or the communist regime had turned over, it was very difficult for anybody to make it. So as a family of 12, to be able to make it to America, we knew was a divine miracle. And so from a young age, my mom and dad instilled in us just a sense of purpose, a sense of gratitude, and we counted every day as a blessing. We knew that it was God who had a plan for our family. And so when my mom said, this is us leaving the U.S. or Romania to go to the U.S., it's not that we're just only going to seek a better life, but we're going to give back to the people that we left behind. So we left this small village of 100 people. We were about 10% of the village. And we moved to Chicago, which is the third largest city in the U.S. After being in inner city Chicago for some time, we then moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. My parents loved it because it was laid back, and it just reminded them somewhat of Romania. And we didn't have money, obviously, so we lived in the project. So you had the whites, the African American, and then the Romanian family, of course. So that was pretty tough. Eventually, I met a person at the Boys and Girls Club who connected us to Habitat for Humanity, and that started a whole new chapter in our life in the U.S. And I really learned then what it means to give back. And we would have families visiting us during the holidays and bring us Christmas gifts. And I just said, God, I want to do something impactful for you. And so as each sibling eventually left Knoxville to go to college, to move to Dallas, one ended up, after college, going back to Romania and started an orphan home. Another one started a Bible school. And then it was my turn. So I came to Dallas, and I went to Bible school. After that, I went and did 6 months away with YWAM, Youth with a Mission. And I was able to apply what I had learned, and it really transformed my life. But I also knew while I was there that God had given me a brain, and I didn't want to rely strictly on support. So I had come back. I met this girl in college from Columbia. We got married, and I needed a job. So I started working at Neiman Marcus at North Park Mall. So I was at Neiman Marcus for about 10 years, and while working at Neiman Marcus selling fur coats, of all things, I would get calls from my siblings in Romania. They said, Samuel, you work in retail, can you send us shoes or clothing? And I said, even with my 30% discount, it wouldn't make a big impact. Plus, it wouldn't be the wisest idea right now. So I kept thinking to myself, Lord, give me an idea, give me an opportunity to be able to do something to give back. I felt so bad because I would go to Romania and they're all doing God's work, and I'm here at Neiman Marcus, going up the corporate ladder. I started unloading boxes because I needed a job, and then I moved into management. So I was managing the fur department, and I led the fur department to #1, and we were doing really well. But I knew that I wanted to do something more meaningful with my life and combine my love of fashion with philanthropy because I kept thinking about what they were doing. And I also thought about what I was doing in Cuba and Colombia when I was with YWAM. In 2009, the founder of Tom's Shoes, Blake McCoskey, launched at Neiman Marcus, Tom's. So I got to meet him, and I said, have you considered doing anything for kids in cold and wet climates? I said, having grown up in Romania, I remember how receiving my first pair of rain boots transformed my life. Not only did they give me more confidence, I could go to school, knowing that my feet were protected. And I said, they really are needed in cold and wet climates. When people think of poverty, they don't really think of Eastern Europe. They normally think of South America, Central America, maybe some parts in Asia and Africa. And he said, no, I haven't considered it, but right now our focus is Argentina, him telling me, and a few countries in Africa. So immediately, I just felt my heart start beating really fast, and I said, God, here I am, send me. But I didn't have money. I didn't know what it means to start a business. I said, I'm gonna finish my season at Neiman Marcus, and once I finish my season, if this doesn't escape my heart, this thumping, God, I know that I need to do it, and I'm gonna just step out in faith. I have 3 minutes left. And so I remember finishing my season at Neiman Marcus, and I told a couple of my clients, I'm leaving Neiman's to start a boot company. They said, what? And so immediately they said, well, I can help you with this, I can help you with copyright, I can help you with the logo. I decided with their help that there were 3 names that we were stuck on, but one of them was Evol, which is love spelled backwards, and the other was Amor, which is, Roma. Sorry, I'm getting confused. Amor, which is love, which is Roma. That's what we landed on. I speak Spanish, plus Roma was the PC word for the gypsy population who are the poorest in Eastern Europe. And so it's like a trifecta, Roma, Romania, and love. And love was the motivation. That's what I got stuck with. Evol didn't really roll off the tongue like Roma did. And so Roma boots, and I said, I want to be able to do this for the glory of God and the good of others. I had a heart for the destitute, for the orphan and the widow. And we started Roma Boots in 2010 with $5,000 and about $40,000 in credit card debt and student loans. I sold my car, sold my possessions, and I couldn't escape this idea that I wanted to help children in Romania. So fast forward, fall of 2010, Neiman Marcus calls me back. I had borrowed money to start this company. I went back to Neiman Marcus in October, so I was juggling Roma and Neiman Marcus for some time, but I'll never forget, we produced 10,000 boots. I found a supplier, we work with them to this day, and I went to Romania on Christmas Eve with 5,000 boots that we would be donating. And we pulled up into this community where my sister started this orphanage, and there's several thousand kids as we pulled up into the village. It looked like a war zone. It was just, there was slush and mud on the floor. I'm thinking to myself, my daughters, I have 2 beautiful daughters. Now one is 18, one is 16. But at that time they were toddlers. I'm thinking to myself, they're probably with my wife at Neiman Marcus or at North Park Mall shopping and enjoying Christmas. And there's no indication whatsoever that it's Christmas here. It was so gloomy. You could hear like a random dark bark. It was cloudy. You just smell the smell of smoke, and there's slush on the ground. And we pull up in this white van with red, yellow, and blue rain boots, and I'll show you guys those in just a second. As we pulled in there, kids started running and chasing us, and some of them had feet that were deformed, some of them were wearing sandals, their parents' shoes, and when we gave them these boots, which we prayed for before we did, it's like everything changed. We brought Christmas to that community, and there was just jubilation and cheers. And I thought to myself that, God, I can't believe you chose me to do this. And I said, I would love, Lord, if you can make the same experience be repeated all over Romania. And I remember when I was a kid, when I was 8 years old and giving my rain boots, I'm thinking, I didn't think that they were going to make the same impact in these kids' lives. And little did I know that 13 years later, we would have repeated the same experience, not only in Romania, but in 33 countries around the world. And that's all because God decided to use a humble vessel to be able to do that. And I'm so grateful so much for everybody. We've been featured on Good Morning America, Today Show, Forbes, Inc. Never had a publicist. It was just a story that we decided to be very transparent, very authentic, and put it in God's hand. I said, God, I want to do it for you for all. So Roma is amor, which is amor spelled backwards, like I said, is love. And then for you for all, love God and love neighbor. So we kind of do it discreetly in that sense, but God knows our motivation. And last year, we were able to make the biggest donation. We were in Eastern Europe. We produced 100,000 boots and donated boots to all those victims of the war and in Romania and through all of that region. So it was our biggest kind of trip there. We received some support for that. And then we said in 2024, we're getting so many requests right now from a Convoy of Hope who we partner with, World Vision. And honestly, ladies, the biggest need here is proper footwear, more so than anything else, because there's so many charities that we partnered with, and I have 1 minute, that receive Toms and other footwear, but unless you have dry and warm climates, those end up becoming a haven for bacteria. Or like in Guatemala, where we are going very soon in the spring, there's hookworm, there's volcanic ash, there's any moisture allows that to go into the skin, and it's very dangerous. Whereas when you have footwear, rain boots, not only can they be passed down, but they're much more sanitary, they're much cleaner, and the kids just love them more. When we go into these communities and we donate the boots and we tell them that, may these boots, anytime you have these boots on, may you feel loved by God. But they also feel empowered, they feel strong, they feel confident, and anytime they get a smudge on them or anything, immediately they treat them like a brand new toy. They want to clean them up, you know, and we've just seen these boots make such an impact in the lives of these kids all around the world. And I just want to invite you guys, I have some information that I can leave with you, but if you want to be a part of this and part of us donating the 200,000 boots in 2024, feel free to reach out. These kids' lives have been transformed and God has been glorified, because if you take care of the least of this, you've done it to him. And from the very beginning, we said, not only do we want to give a fish, but we want to teach them how to fish. So we partner with local learning centers in these communities where we teach these kids how to read and write and teach them the Word of God. So that's what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes. Okay, well, we very rarely do this, but Samuel's become such a dear friend of our family. Let me ask you a couple of questions. Okay, tell us about your retail shop that you can just go buy Roma boots. I have a bunch across the back as well. You can actually purchase them and tell them where they can do that.
Yes, so we are sold right now at in Dallas. We're at North Park Mall. We have a store there. I'm sorry, across from North Park Mall. There's shops at Park Lane. If you guys are familiar with that. We also sell them online in Land's End. We sell them in those are the kids' boots that we actually donate. We were in DSW, but we had a major hiccup with the supply chain last year, which really prevented orders from coming in. Those are the women's boots, yeah. We partnered, actually that boot we did with former Miss Universe, Demi Tebow. We took her to Eastern Europe with us last year, Tim Tebow's wife. And we also have them at romaboots.com, which is our website.
Okay, and so tell us about the system. Like if you buy one pair of boots, if I buy one pair of retail boots, then what happens?
That's exactly right. So it's a buy one, get one like Tom. So for every pair that we sell, we donate a pair and 10% of our proceeds to Roma Foundation. So we have Roma Boots, which is the brand, and then you have Roma Foundation, which is our 501c3 nonprofit. So we donate that to the foundation, and then the foundation partners with World Vision, Convoy, and gets these boots overseas. However, the demand has been so astronomical in the last couple years that we haven't been able to keep up with the amount that they're requesting from us. So last year we donated 100,000 boots, but we ended up selling 15,000 boots because the supply chain was so broken, and we just received so many requests. So we told Convoy of Hope we're gonna donate 100,000 boots, and they came back to us this year and they said we need more because there's so many kids that are loving our boots. So.
Oh, awesome. Okay.